America, and welcome to this week's presentation of NASCAR Cheez-It Cup Series Racing action. This week, I know I said last time that we would be coming to you from Atlanta, but it turns out we were actually going to Texas this time. So yeah, unfortunately I made a mistake last week, but we are indeed in Texas now. Texas action from the big old Texas Motor Speedway. Last week, in an amazing finish, Phil Collins ran out of gas and finished 36th or so. And then Tails went on to win the race and take the points lead. Tails leads the points over Corbin Forrester, Justin Allgaier, Mary Poppins, and Keanu Reeves. How will our drivers fare today? Well, we're just going to have to wait and find out. Let's take you through the starting lineup. Starting on pole for today's race will be, and starting next to him will be the number 6 of Bernie Sanders. Starting third is your points leader, Tails, starting next to the 51 of John Popper. Next in line, we got Phil Collins starting in 6th, who after that heartbreak fell all the way to 9th in points from what was a surefire victory and first in the points, but now he will start next to the Bee Gees. Greg Graffin will start alongside Mary Poppins. Jake from State Farm will start alongside Winnie the Pooh. Jesus Christ himself will sit next to Justin Allgaier. Gibby Haynes will start alongside Brad Pitt. Trent Reznor will start alongside Richie Birkenhead. Corbin Forrester starts next to Jack Black. CM Punk starts next to Sweet Tooth. Bruce Willis will start next to Elvis Presley. Susan Boyle will start next to the 17 of Vin Diesel. Tommy Joe Martins will start alongside the 55 of Aaron Carter. What If Racing will start next to Larry the Cable Guy. MC Hammer will start alongside Dale Earnhardt from 1970. Keanu Reeves will start next to Slim Shady. Benjamin Franklin will start alongside Rob Zombie. And Donald Trump is going to start next to Rob Halford. Next in line is Arnold Schwarzenegger, starting next to Barack Obama. In the back, we have David Bowie starting next to Janet Jackson. And there's your pace car. Priming up for a fantastic event here at Texas Motor Speedway. In this race, the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. Aerial coverage is provided by our friends at Smithfield Foods. Starting on pole is Brock Lesnar. Right behind him is our points leader Tails, and that number 19 did not have enough speed to pass Phil Collins on the track at Sonoma last week. But Phil Collins running out of gas allowed him to get that win. But now it's time for Texas action in the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. Brock Lesnar takes them the green. We are green at Texas. Side by side as they dive into turn 1. Brock Lesnar with the early advantage, and there's Tails right underneath trying to make room. But it's not going to be enough. Brock Lesnar leads going into turn 3. Cuts down over the nose of that number 19 to keep him from moving up. And it's Brock Lesnar. Tails to 2nd. The Bee Gees to 3rd. And Mary Poppins will be 4th. Bernie Sanders loses 3 spots in the first lap. That's the pace car. Let's just reset this. Back up front. Brock Lesnar leads with a Tails with a look underneath. Going into turn 3, Tails is looking for the lead. Side by side as they take it through 3 and 4. Brock Lesnar holds his own on the outside. Who is going to lead lap number 2? Still side by side coming out of the corner. Brock Lesnar with the advantage. Tails with the side draft. It is Brock Lesnar leading at the line. But they are still side by side. Bernie Sanders back underneath the number 5 of Mary Poppins. But Tails takes it into turn 1. Slides up the track just a little bit. Can he clear him off of 2? They are still side by side down his backstretch. Tails does get ahead of him. Can he clear him through 3 and 4? Tails clears the number 48 of Brock Lesnar, and is Tails to the lead in the Cosmo Motors 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Bernie Sanders up to 3rd place, followed by Mary Poppins into 5. The Bee Gees and Winnie the Pooh fight for the 5th spot. 7th is Jesus Christ himself. 8th is our old buddy Phil Collins. In 9th place, we have Brad Pitt in the 46, and rounding out your top 10 right now, it is Trent Reznor in the 93. Next in line is Jack Black in the 95, Justin Allgaier up to 13th. Side by side for 14th, between Sweet Tooth and Gibby Haynes. Gibby Haynes with a big push from that number 34. Bruce Willis bringing Jake from State Farm and Corbin Forster underneath them too. John Popper has lost a lot of spots since the start. Elvis Presley kind of cuts this field in about half, as he leads a second pack of cars with Susan Boyle in tow. Larry the Cable Guy is next. Dale Earnhardt from 1970 in his single file all the way through, back to David Bowie in his brand new Black Star number 78. And currently in last, it appears to be Slim Shady. Tails leads this race. 5 laps completed in the Cosmo Motors 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Next in line is still Brock Lesnar. Your top 5 remains unchanged. Winnie the Pooh is caught up to our leaders and is going to be looking to potentially pass either Bernie Sanders or Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins with a look underneath that number 6 of Bernie Sanders for 3rd place. Probably going to bring the number 7 of Winnie the Pooh with her. Mary Poppins secures the spot, and there comes Winnie the Pooh up to 4th. Mary Poppins to 3rd. But it is Tails with the lead here early. More drivers starting to catch up to our top 5. Phil Collins is next in line, looking to rectify from last week's misjudgment by running out of gas on the final lap. Jesus Christ himself is right behind. The Bee Gees have fallen down to 8th place. In this, the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. Tails leads this race, and we will take a quick and early commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You won't miss a second of the action with NASCAR nonstop. Thanks for tuning in to the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. This is the Cheez Cup Series.
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
I have an annuity, but I need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. 877 cash now.
They help thousands, they'll help you too. One lump sum of cash they will pay to you. If you get long-term payments but you need cash now,
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
877 cash now.
877 cash now. 877 cash now.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. Call now.
Today's presentation of NASCAR Cheez Cup Series Racing is sponsored in part by Netflix. Everything great about television with none of the commercials.
Welcome back to race number 6 of the 2016 or 17 NASCAR Cheez Cup Series season here from Texas Motor Speedway. This is the Cosmo Motors 500. Brock Lesnar, our pole sitter, has caught back up to Tails. Tails has led all but 2 laps in this event thus far. Brock Lesnar sitting in 2nd place. Next in line is a 3-way battle for the 3rd place position. Mary Poppins holds it now. Winnie the Pooh hot in tow, and Phil Collins right behind them. Next in line is the Bee Gees, who fell back early and are starting to charge back. Between the Bee Gees and Bernie Sanders going back and forth, inside and outside of the top 5, these two have been the most fluid drivers on the track thus far. Jesus Christ himself has caught up to these drivers, and rounding out your top 10 is Brad Pitt and Trent Reznor. Corbin Forrester. Last week at Sonoma was a very exciting race. Corbin Forrester, it seemed as though he had it locked down until he lost the lead coming out of pit road due to a stalled engine on exit. Corbin Forrester is looking to rectify having that race slip out of his fingers by coming to Texas Motor Speedway and taking home the win. But right now, it is last week's winner Tails in the lead. Last place is Larry the Cable Guy at the very moment. Larry the Cable Guy has not had a very impressive season, but he still has more points than a couple of drivers out there. Janet Jackson is next in line, who is much of the same. Very unimpressive driving by these two drivers back here. What If Racing has had an up and down season, to say the least. It seems that whenever he has a good race, he comes right back and does another not so good race. He's looking to rectify his mistakes in the past today. And Benjamin Franklin, most notably, the driver that I get ragging on the most, when in all honesty he has one of the best finishes with a 4th place at California. He leads many drivers in the point standings, to be 100% honest. There he goes by that number 17 of Vin Diesel, dropping way back. A potential problem on this number 17 car. Vin Diesel looked like he was going to have a good season in the What the Fuck 500, but then he did not do anything after that. But it is still Tails in the lead. Tails has led since about lap 3. But Brock Lesnar is right with him. This race could go either way at the moment. Phil Collins has made it up to the 3rd place. And you better bet that he is hungry to try and get a win after what happened last week at Sonoma. Sonoma, an entertaining all-around race. Phil Collins took the lead off of pit stops, but ran out of fuel during the final lap of the race under caution. Next in line is Mary Poppins, who's having a fantastic season thus far. This is about the position that she's usually in most races. Mary Poppins sits comfortably in the top 5 in points and the top 5 in this race. Winnie the Pooh, on the other hand, is looking for a good race today. Winnie the Pooh is also in a pretty safe spot in the points, but a 5th place today would do wonders for Winnie the Pooh. He is hoping to take home the victory in today's race. The Bee Gees, however, are in a much more tough point situation compared to the other two drivers. The Bee Gees did not get off to a fantastic start, but they have caught back up as the season has gone along. The Bee Gees hoping to have a good day here at Texas Motor Speedway. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, is probably the worst for wear in the point standings of the top drivers. Bernie Sanders, sitting in 7th place right now, did not have a great start to his season and has only recently started to put it on a charge to get into the top 20 in points. Currently in 8th place is the number 24, Corbin Forrester, moving up from a poor qualifying effort as he gets past his teammate in the number 88, Jesus Christ himself. Corbin Forrester did not get off to a great start to his season either, but has come back fighting hard ever since Las Vegas. Corbin Forrester looking to get a good day today. Once again, Jesus Christ himself in the number 88, also having an up and down of season of sorts. Jesus Christ looking to help out his teammates as he enters his final season of NASCAR Cheez Cup Series racing. The 2,000-year veteran of auto racing is looking to finally hang up the Hans device after this season, and his retirement tour will begin next weekend at Bristol. Rounding out the top 10 is still Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor holding it down in that 10th spot. Having a pretty good race thus far and a pretty good season. Trent Reznor was only supposed to be a substitute driver at the start of the season, but after he did so great in his 3 starts at a number 83, Mick Racing decided to open up one more car and try and go for a championship with that driver, Trent Reznor. Mary Poppins on the outside was in 3rd place when we were going through the field at the beginning, falling all the way back to 8th now. Mary Poppins must have had an issue going through one of the corners. Let's go back up to the front. It is still Tails with a great about 10 car length lead, but Phil Collins is coming and coming quick. Let's compare times at the line for these top drivers as Tails goes through turns 3 and 4. We used times at the line last weekend to compare the drivers of Phil Collins and Tails to see who had the better car over the longer run. Tails crosses the line now. His last lap was a 2.5 longer than his best. 32.0. Brock Lesnar with a 31.8, a 2/10 improvement to Tails' lap. Same story for Phil Collins. Brock Lesnar and Phil Collins running nearly identical laps. Winnie the Pooh has the best of the bunch so far, though, with a 31.7. The Bee Gees also with a 31.7. Bernie Sanders with the best lap that time around. 31.6, holding it down in the 6th position. And Corbin Forrester with a 31.9. Mary Poppins is catching back up after that rough lap where she dropped several spots to the 8th place. but it is still Tails out in the lead. Another 32-second lap for Tails. Brock Lesnar slowly and meticulously is improving on the times of Tails, but will it be enough to get to Tails before our cycle of pit stops? We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? 23 laps complete in the Cosmo Motors 500. Let's take a look back through the field once again. In 11th place is Brad Pitt, number 46, Jake from State Farm, with a move trying to get past him, currently in 12th. Next in line is Gibby Haynes, who has gone downhill since Daytona. Missing that race, missing the second race of the season, did not help Gibby Haynes in the slightest. Next in line we have Jack Black and that number 14, also a very consistent driver, doing very well in points. Today could be another great points day for that number 95 of Jack Black. Next in line is Greg Graffin in 15th place. This field is very strung out, more so than usual. It is a fair possibility that lap traffic will come into play by the time this race is complete, as Larry the Cable Guy makes his way out of turn 2. Tails is working his way through turn 4. 25 laps into this run, and Tails is already halfway to the tail end of the pack. 25 laps complete in today's race at Texas Motor Speedway. It is still Tails over. Now Phil Collins. Phil Collins made the pass on Brock Lesnar and is probably going to be charging down the leader now after getting passed out of the dirty air of that number 48. It is sure to be a good lap for that number 14. Phil Collins dives it in to turn 3, coming out of turn 4 now. Let's compare lap times at the line. The previous lap for Tails was a 32.1. This lap is a 32.1 once again. Phil Collins, guess he crossed the line already, running a nearly identical lap to Tails. These two drivers, the class of the field for the past 2 weeks. What is it going to take to dethrone these two drivers? Will it take pit stops? We'll just have to wait and see. Brock Lesnar down to 3rd. Winnie the Pooh to 4th. Corbin Forrester cracks the top 5 in the number 24 Tilted Kilt Chevrolet. Bernie Sanders in 6th place now. Mary Poppins trying to get back up through the spots in the field with a look on Bernie Sanders on the outside. She doesn't go for it though. Will she go for it in turn 1? Mary Poppins holds her line behind Bernie Sanders. Jesus Christ himself sits in 8th. Trent Reznor and the Bee Gees battle it out for 9th. Here comes Jake from State Farm with a pass on the team owner. Well, one of the owners is in there. Barry Gibb Racing has had a fantastic season thus far, especially with their driver Tails holding the top position in points and sure to extend his lead should he win this race here today, like it appears he will be. Phil Collins with a slower lap time than Tails that time around. But as we all know, pit stops could shake everything up in an instant. We will take a quick commercial break before pit stops. Don't go anywhere. This is the Cosmo Motors 500 from the Texas Motor Speedway Cheez Cup Series racing action only on Kamikaze Game Sports Network. We'll see you in a minute. Hit the deck! Get away from me, you commie fucks! Get away from me, you commie fuck!
Daddy, what's wrong with Grandpa?
PTSD, son. It gets them all.
Get away from me, you commie fucks! Get away!
Daddy, I'm scared. I don't want Grandpa to hurt himself.
Don't worry, son. He won't hurt himself. But he may hurt his loved ones.
PTSD. You may think that it only hurts you, but it may hurt more than just the ones around you. This has been a public service announcement from people paid to make you feel sad.
it did that thing where it does the, oh my god. Oh god.
Today's presentation of NASCAR Cheez Cup Series racing action is brought to you by Lionel. It's like Christmas for NASCAR fans.
What an excellent battle between many skilled drivers. Here in the Cosmo Motors 500 at Texas Motor Speedway, this four-way battle has only gotten more and more spicier as the laps have gone on. Many drivers coming in and ducking down onto pit road over the course of the 2016 or 17 Texas Motor Speedway race number 6 of the NASCAR Cheez Cup Series. Corbin Forrester is the biggest loser in this instance. He has fallen all the way to the back of this 4-car pack, but it looks like many drivers might be going down pit road this time around. Down goes Corbin Forrester. Bernie Sanders, Brad Pitt, Trent Reznor, Mary Poppins, Jesus Christ himself, and back there is the number 1 of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's go back up to Tails, who was in the lead before that cycle of green flag pit stops. He comes out ahead of Phil Collins, this much we know. But will he keep the lead? This is the biggest question on everyone's minds. When did Tails go down pit road? I do believe it was the previous lap, because the last lap time was 1:07 compared to a usual 30 point something. 31.1 that lap. Currently in 30th is Tails, now up to 12th. Let's look our way back up through the field once again. There is David Bowie in the Black Star 78. David Bowie crosses the line, is in 31st, so up there, here's some more drivers. Justin Allgaier in the 22 down low, Rob Zombie, and there are those many other drivers that came down pit road as they were battling each other, but Elvis Presley in the 33 was way far back in the field. It looks to me that Elvis Presley dug down pit road early to gain an advantage on the drivers ahead of him, and it appears to have worked. Elvis Presley now is in 12th place as he goes for a move underneath that number 5 of Mary Poppins. Up here is Jesus Christ himself behind the 43 of Greg Graffin now. Jake from State Farm sits in the 6th position. Winnie the Pooh in 5th. Phil Collins is in 3rd behind that number 48 of Brock Lesnar. And your leader is still Tails, even further out in the lead now than he was before. Coming through turn 1 is Brock Lesnar, while Tails comes out of 2. Into 3 now. Wait, that's the wrong way. Yeah, halfway down the backstretch is Brock Lesnar. So maybe not by too much, but Phil Collins definitely lost on that round of pit stops. Brock Lesnar, with the big gain, passes that number 14 off of pit road during our first sequence of pit stops. Those pit stops began at about lap 35, so it is very likely that we will see one more set of green flag pit stops unless an accident occurs. Caution free in the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway at the moment. Last place at the moment is Vin Diesel. There appears to be a car that has retired because Vin Diesel's in 39th. Maybe someone's a lap down. Who knows? Who cares? It is Tails in 1st, followed by Brock Lesnar. Then it is Phil Collins in 3rd. Jake from State Farm is in 4th. Winnie the Pooh is in 5th. Greg Graffin sits in the 43 in 6th place. Bee Gees and Jesus Christ himself battle it out for the 7th position. Jack Black sits 9th. And Elvis Presley rounds out your top 10 after this, the first sequence of green flag pit stops. Trent Reznor with a move underneath that number 33 of Elvis Presley for a top 10 position on the track. That number 95 moving its way up from about a 20th place start. Very powerful early on, that number 93. And there's Mary Poppins, and Corbin Forrester. Some big losers over the course of this green flag pit stop would definitely be Mary Poppins and Corbin Forrester, as well as Brad Pitt and Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders lost about 10 to 13 spots on that round of pit stops. Rough times ahead for that number 6. John Popper, our biggest loser thus far. He started, I think, either 4th or 6th. And he has fallen all the way to the 23rd position, now battling with once points leader Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is 5th in the point standings coming into this race. He does not want to finish in the 20s. Keanu Reeves looking to rectify his current mistakes of not being in first place. If that makes sense, which it probably doesn't, honestly. Barack Obama coming into the mix. He hasn't been really relevant since California. Dale Earnhardt from 1970 up through the mix, too. He hasn't been relevant, like, at all throughout this entire NASCAR Cheez Cup Series season. Justin Allgaier all the way back in 27th. This is not the race that Justin Allgaier wants to have. Justin Allgaier currently sits in about 3rd place in the point standings. Not even 50 points behind our leader, Tails. He is not going to want to finish 27th in this race, that's for sure. Let's send it back up front as this is a huge battle. A huge battle between several cars. 5 cars, 6 cars under a blanket. That is about 7th through 12th on track right now. Very competitive racing in clumps throughout the field. Once they get strung out, they do get strung out, but then they string right back together. Lots of comers and goers in this event so far. Let's take you back up to the lead now. Jake from State Farm holds down the 5th spot, looking to get 4th from Winnie the Pooh. Wrong way. Phil Collins still trying to get past Brock Lesnar. It says that he was in 2nd, so now I'm assuming that he got past Brock Lesnar, but got past once again now. There is Donald Trump in the 39th position. Lap traffic is already coming into play 5 laps earlier than I thought it would. Donald Trump last place on the track right now, but first place in our hearts. The next lap down car is all the way across the backstretch, so Donald Trump must have had an issue of some sort to fall this far back in such a short amount of time. Perhaps Donald Trump just went down pit road a little bit later than everyone else, because Donald Trump is running some of the fastest laps on the track. Compared to our leader, Donald Trump runs a 30.6. Wrong way. And Tails ran a 31.4. Different pit strategy for Donald Trump, trying to make the long run pay off. And with him pitting on about lap 40-ish, could he potentially stretch it to the end? It's pretty obvious that everyone else on the track is going to have to go down for a second time, unless Donald Trump can find a way to hold off on gas. Interesting politics at play in this event as we near the halfway mark in the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. This the 6th godforsaken event in 2016 or 17 NASCAR Cheez Cup Series season. It's been an excellent race thus far, clean and green. We'll take another quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You won't miss a second of the action. This is NASCAR Cheez Cup Series racing. Coming soon to YouTube. It's the first musical release by Kamikaze Games in nearly a year and a half. It's Gas Station. Featuring songs such as There's No Time to Waste.
No matter the time, no matter the place, I'll be there for you when there's no more time to waste. Against all odds, at any rate, I'll make it through, make no mistake. I'll be there for you when there's no more time to waste.
Gas Station will be released for free 100% on YouTube, coming soon.
I'm the sous chef here. With any luck, I should be head chef by next year. I've got this amazing fiance, who I won't be marrying this weekend. because I'm about to be in a terrible accident. But really, I should have cleaned up the grease over there. And they should never put the deep fryer so close.
Somebody help me!
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
That uses an ultra-quiet fan to actively circulate your favorite fragrance throughout the entire room.
There. Isn't that better?
New Glade plug-in scented oil fan.
Freshness with a spin. Plug it in, plug it in.
S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Today's presentation of NASCAR Cheez-It Cup Series action is presented by Castrol Synthetic. Our commercial was really fucking annoying for a long time.
Welcome back to the 6th race of the 2016 or 17 NASCAR Cheez-It Cup Series season. This at Texas Motor Speedway, the Cosmo Motors 500. Corbin Forrester is currently in 8th place. But next in line is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, excellent time through pit road and having an excellent first half of his event here today. Arnold Schwarzenegger is looking to finally, after so long, have a good race. He has been searching and searching to get a break. Could this weekend be that break that he is oh so looking for? Jake from State Farm also having a great race, currently in the 5th position. Jake from State Farm did not have a great season up until last week at Sonoma. He was nestled firmly in the top 10 for the majority of that event, got a good finish for that Federal Express Laurel number 11 for Barry Gibb Racing. That number 11 has probably been the weakest of the Barry Gibbs Racing organization all season, and it's great to see that number 11 up at the front of the field. Winnie the Pooh is next in line. 3rd place is now Brock Lesnar, as Phil Collins finally managed to get past the Beast. But it is still Tails way, way out front, about the entire corner. Once we get to the line, we will see what the times are compared between these two drivers. Phil Collins is about a quarter of the way down the backstretch once Tails hits the entry to turn 3. It's a big gap to overcome. But if there's anything that I know about Phil Collins, is that he'll find a way to my heart. And my heart's in victory lane, so I'm sure he'll find his way to victory lane. Tails runs a 32 flat, and Phil Collins runs a 32.1. So it is clear that Tails still has the advantage over Phil Collins. He has to survive another round of pit stops before he can take home the checkered flag. But could Tails go 2 for 2? Back-to-back victories for that 19 may be in sight. After such a heartbreaking finish for Phil Collins, though, you gotta believe that he is going to be bringing his A game for the rest of this season. Phil Collins driving the number 14. This battle for the end of the top 10 is still just fire and brimstone back here. These guys just cannot seem to get away from each other. The back end of the top 10 has been fighting and fighting for so long. Corbin Forrester trying to get past that number 11 or 1 of Arnold Schwarzenegger. At the line, it will be Arnold Schwarzenegger over Corbin Forrester. Next in line is Jack Black, and behind them, rounding out the top 10 is Elvis. Well, actually, 11th place would be Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley underneath Jack Black and that number 1. Corbin Forrester in the way, but can Elvis Presley get 2 for 1 this lap? Elvis Presley underneath that number 1. The number 1 strong on the outside. He clears that number 33 of Elvis Presley before they even get through the corner. And it is now Corbin Forrester over Arnold Schwarzenegger, Elvis Presley, and Jack Black. Let's go a bit further through the field. 11th place, apparently. Okay, so that was the end of the top 10. Never mind. The Bee Gees still battling it out with Trent Reznor. Reznor has just been outside of the top 10 and trying to knock in the door and get through. But probably the most unfortunate of this, between Mary Poppins and Bernie Sanders, two of the biggest losers over the course of pit stops and have not been able to make their way back up like that 24 of Corbin Forrester could. Greg Graffin also losing a lot of ground. Graffin was in 6th place once pit stop cycle all the way through. But now he sits in 15th, looking to get passed by that 42 of CM Punk, battling for, well, actually that's Gibby Haynes. So Gibby Haynes is in last. So there are no cars retired on track apparently. It's just that Gibby Haynes has been lapsed down for a time now. Don't know what happened to Gibby Haynes to put him lapsed down and in 40th. But David Bowie lost a lot of ground, as we were talking about. That number 15 of Gibby Haynes. Justin Allgaier now in 21st place. It's better than he was. He was in 27th. But Justin Allgaier definitely wants to improve a little bit more before this race is over. Tommy Joe Martin's in 24th. Dale Earnhardt from 1970 in 25th. Keanu Reeves in 27th now. And there's Richie Burgonet in the number 83. Trent Reznor appears to have done a better job in that 83 than Richie is, but maybe Reznor's just getting the better parts. I don't know. Who's to say? Donald Trump still in 39th though, so he's not having a good time. Tails is in the lead going through turns 3 and 4 at the line. 63 laps complete. 32.6 is the lap from Tails. Let's go back to Phil Collins in that 14. Phil Collins with a 32.5, but he is much further back from Tails than he was before. Losing much ground, potentially. Let's see as Tails turns into turn 3. In 3 now, and Phil Collins, it's about the same gap as before. It just looked like a lot more from where I was sitting, so. Brock Lesnar holds it down in 3rd. Winnie the Pooh is in 4th. It is lap 65 now, and I was just about to say that I was thinking that pit stops were going to be coming up, and as I think that, it occurs on the track. Goodness me. Tails is on pit road now. Let's see what his pit crew can potentially do this time around. He has the first place because he got I guess he got, Brock Lesnar got the pole, so he started 3rd. Brock Lesnar has been a very good qualifier this season. So this is boring. Let's go see someone else. Phil Collins stays on the track for another lap. He crosses the line with a 32.5. Next in line is Winnie the Pooh, so Brock Lesnar has gone down to pit. Jake from State Farm is next in line now, and Jesus Christ himself rounds out the top 5. Actually, Corbin Forrester rounds out the top 5. Arnold Schwarzenegger is next in line. Jack Black is in 7th. Trent Reznor is in 8th. Mary Poppins is in 9th, and Bernie Sanders rounds out your top 10 in this, the second pit stop cycle of this race. Phil Collins looking to go down pit road now. Let's take a look at pit lane 2 camera to see as everyone comes down this time around. On the track is still Jake from State Farm. Winnie the Pooh comes down. And it is quiet on pit road for the moment. Down pit road, the number 20 of the Bee Gees, the number 42 of CM Punk. Barack Obama heads down pit road as well as Slim Shady. At the end of pit road, out comes that number 43 of Greg Graffin. Can he make up as much as he did on the previous round of stops? We'll just have to see. Phil Collins is still sitting on pit road. We will wait until he comes out to see exactly where this top lineup is going to be shaking up. Off of pit road, it is Phil Collins. Let's go on board that car. Roof cam. Slow and steady out of pit road. It is that number 14 of Phil Collins. Bernie Sanders and Mary Poppins passed him. The question is, no, Mary Poppins definitely was not out. Not in to pit road. Was Bernie Sanders on pit road yet? We'll just have to wait and see. Phil Collins sits in 22nd. Pit road cycle still going through. He sits behind the number 15 of Gibby Haynes, who is still in last, I assume. Yes, indeed. Not the day that Gibby Haynes wanted to have. Brock Lesnar is still right behind number 14 of Phil Collins. But that slow Gibby Haynes held up the number 14 of Phil Collins. Are we about to see a move for the win? We still don't know where Tails is at the moment. But this is side-by-side action for at least 2nd place. Now 7th position. Pit road cycle about to complete as Brock Lesnar overtakes that number 14 of Phil Collins. Phil Collins, held up by the number 15 of Gibby Haynes, allows Brock Lesnar to take advantage in an aggressive move here late in this race. Lap 69 about to be complete for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar will move into... He is still in 7th, so... No, actually he's in 3rd. Next in line is Tails at the moment, and not Larry the Cable Guy, I'm pretty sure. Wherever the hell 1st place is. Many cars all over the track right now. This pit cycle still yet to be complete. Someone else is in 1st right now. I assume it's probably like Phil... Yeah, there he is. Bernie Sanders, most likely your leader at the moment. He is now in 2nd, so it looks like Tails is most likely back to the lead. Tails is putting on a clinic. He got the lead at lap 2 and has not looked back since. Emerging as an early championship contender is this number 19 of Tails. Fantastic driving by this driver and team. Next in line is Brock Lesnar, still battling for 2nd with Phil Collins. Phil Collins, so close yet so far away once again to another win. There's still plenty of racing left. 13 laps of racing remain in this, the Cosmo Motors 500. This is your battle for 2nd place. We will take one last quick commercial break, and we will bring you the final laps of this race right after this round of NASCAR Nonstop. Don't go anywhere. This is NASCAR Cheez Cup Series action.
Kool-Aid, a 5-cent package makes 2 quarts of Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid, 9 great flavors, the drink you love. Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
For the very best drink you ever made,
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid,
be sure that the envelope says Kool-Aid.
You can give your youngsters a lot of pleasure with Kool-Aid. You know it's pure and good. It has the Parents Magazine seal. And it's so thrifty. A 5-cent package makes 2 full quarts. Just add Kool-Aid to water with ice. Add some sugar and stir.
for the very best drink you ever made.
Be sure that the envelope says Kool-Aid.
My brother and I have always been really competitive. We used to fantasize about racing cars against each other. But since neither of us know how to race, that fantasy never really ended well.
And you were always by my side. What more could a guy care about? I'll keep you forever in my heart.
That uses an ultra-quiet fan to actively circulate your favorite fragrance throughout the entire room.
There. Isn't that better?
New Glade plug-in scented oil fan.
Freshness with a spin. Plug it in, plug it in.
S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Today's presentation of NASCAR Cheez Cup Series Racing is presented by BP. Killing the oceans 1 gallon of oil at a time.
Welcome back to the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. This battle for second has not lightened up. You did not miss a second of the action here at Texas Motor Speedway. Phil Collins and Brock Lesnar are all over each other for second place, as they have been in the past. Good, well, even before the pit sequence even began. But this is all for second place, as your leader, Tails, has just absolutely destroyed the rest of this field today. Right ahead of him is Richie Birkenhead in the number 37. How unfortunate for him to have a bad race like this. There's Donald Trump once again in the 35th position. But they are still side by side for second. It is back and forth between these two drivers. They have kept it off each other and clean and green the entire time though. But once this race starts getting closer and closer to the end, 6 laps to go now, could this get a little bit more rough and tumble? We've seen in the past that Brock Lesnar is no stranger to putting the bumper to another driver, because he is a very aggressive driver, so yeah. Could end badly for that number 14 of Phil Collins for a second week in a row. Phil Collins with the advantage for the moment. 5 laps to go at the line, but Brock Lesnar is looking once again. This battle is just not lighting up whatsoever. Fantastic driving between these two drivers. Phil Collins leads over Brock Lesnar, but it is Tails in the lead of the actual event. A huge margin. At the line is Tails now, but back to Phil Collins. They are halfway through turn 4. Tails has just been untouchable this race. 4 laps to go. Phil Collins looks to have the position now. Next in line is Winnie the Pooh and that number 7. Just the run that these guys were looking for. Hoping to get back up through more positions in the point standings. Arnold Schwarzenegger holds down the 5th spot. Excellent pit strategy by this team all race long. Got them from the back to up to 5th. Just through pit cycles alone. Jake from State Farm holds down to 6th position. A great race for these guys too. Jesus Christ himself is sitting in 7th. Next in line is Corbin Forrester in 8th. Elvis Presley sits in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is Jack Black in the 95. Let's look at the rest of the field now. CM Punk holds down 11th. Oh, I hate the pace car. The Bee Gees and Trent Reznor battle for 12th place. Trent Reznor takes the spot now. Next in line is Barack Obama, who holds down the 14th position. Greg Graffin is driving the number 43. Why do I keep saying stuff like that? They have always been in those cars. But it's not been enough for anyone. This number 19 has killed this field here today. Going through turns 3 and 4. It might have been a bit of a questionable finish to last weekend at Sonoma, and many people could say that Tails did not deserve the win after the showing by Phil Collins. As we enter the white flag lap sponsored by Credit One Bank, it is no doubt in our minds or anyone in America's now that Tails is a fantastic driver in this number 14, leading all but 2 laps here today. Well, and also, you know, pit stops, but this number 19 has been untouchable. And it will be untouchable coming out of turn 4 in the Cosmo Motors 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. 2 in a row for the number 19. Tails wins at Texas. Phil Collins manages to take the 2nd place position. Going to be a lot of valuable points in that. Brock Lesnar takes home 3rd. Winnie the Pooh finishes in the 4th position, and Jake from State Farm just manages to get past the number 6 of Arnold Schwarzenegger at the line to get a top 5 position. Arnold Schwarzenegger takes home 6th. Jesus Christ himself will finish 7th. Corbin Forrester will finish 8th. Elvis Presley gets a much needed top 10, and rounding out the top 10 is Jack Black in that number 95. Fantastic driving by all our drivers here today in the Cosmo Motors 500 from Texas Motor Speedway. There is your winner. 2 in a row. Can anyone stop this 19 car? Well, you just have to tune in next week when we head off to Bristol for the first short track race of the year, beating and banging sure to ensue at the always exciting Bristol Motor Speedway. But that is it for us now. Here from Texas Motor Speedway, let's take a look at the full results for this race. Tails wins by 6 seconds over Phil Collins and Brock Lesnar. And here is the rest of your Cosmo Motors 500 field. It was Susan Boyle who lost a vehicle and finished in last. Fantastic showing. And everyone here at the Kamikaze Game Sports Network thanks you for joining us for the Cosmo Motors 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. Come back and see us again next time. Thanks for watching. This has been NASCAR Cheez It Cup Series Racing Action.